it's supported and given motivation to want to continue on the highest level possible. I say you need to communicate tonight to each other. Dear listening audience, those of you who have accepted to be a part of a movement that's designed to find better ways for us to tap into as a humanity, as a community. When I say community, community has various meanings. There are ethnic communities, there are religious communities, there are social communities, there are different levels of community. A collection of communities make up the humanity, the human family. I'm driven by what reflects the passion I have for the value of the human family. The understanding that comes along with the value of the human family is a great motivator for Cromwell Shakir. I'm appealing to you tonight to latch on to what a caller said last week, that he drove home in his delivery when calling the show. He emphasized that he was attracted to pick up the phone because of what he described as real talk. The Corleone contributor, he went on to say why he thought real talk was so valuable for us to find ourselves doing more in the future because of the reality of what has gone missing from amongst our families. That's reflected in a great negative that's associated with the terrible outcome of a community of people who have in its history gang violence, where most of the people that are killed are black, and now the people who are being killed are not just males, the females as well. And ages are being touted by the police department, the police service. Some of the involved criminals are ranging from the year 15 years old. If this doesn't grip us and want us to settle down and want to understand what has gone missing, not what our young people are doing, because let me say this: it's not the not so young. It's not just the young anymore. Some of the age groups that's been involved in the cases when they go to court, these ages, they move up the ladder. They're not limited to just young people. The age group of people that's involved in gang violence and murders are not just teenage people. But to know that teenage people are involved is a bother. And we need to talk to each other so as we can be encouraged to find solutions to the problem that is promoting the symptom. At the end of the day, the murder and killing and gang activity is a symptom to a bigger problem. And we need to get the courage. We need to, first of all, get the intent right of who we really are. What is it that we need to do to be accountable and responsible in being a part of growing and developing our community? What is our intention? That question is to be answered by every individual in this land called the island of Bermuda, our home. Real talk is necessary to address and get an idea of what has influenced and is a part of the negative influence. We need to share a greater reality. It's necessary, and we will help each other when we hear each other, when we speak to each other in the best way possible for us to be encouraged to do our part. I've always said that the black community, the children of our ancestors, the enslaved, we are a people in progress. We were left empty after slavery. 1834 in Bermuda, a new beginning for people who had hundreds of years of mistreatment. Our ancestors, many of them were left very empty. Culturally, they were left empty. The traditions that they used to have before enslavement, lost. Religious guidance, they didn't have choice. Now I want us to reflect when I make that comment without me trying to create a problem for any one group or another. I don't get anything out of creating a problem by looking at any group or any individual to start a problem or create a problem by the way we talk about issues. One of the things about religion after slavery, we have to understand that we were given, the children of our ancestors, the descendants of the ancestors of enslavement, they were given a religion. They didn't choose a religion after slavery. Think about that for a little bit. Global history says that the world is made up of many different religions, and there are great qualities in these religions. When you hear good education on the evolution of religions, there has been great contribution by different religions, contributions to the development of humankind. There wasn't only one religion. There was one guidance from God, because God was the one who commissioned prophets and raised prophets from amongst their people. God inspired and raised messengers amongst their people. So it was different groups of people that had their opportunity to make their mark on the global development of humankind. And history can record this evolution. Let us not be fearful in wanting to accept this truth. We were given a religion after slavery. You didn't choose to accept the religion you wanted for yourself. And that religion was Christianity. Even though the history records that many of the West Africans were Muslims that came over through the diaspora. Their religion was Islam. The record book shows that. And I'm not saying that for people to say they should accept the Muslims over Christians. No. The fact of the matter is, some of us ended up with a religion that was different from the religion of your ancestors, because many of the ancestors came from West Africa. And most of the West Africans were Muslims. So how did they not give guidance to the enslaved, the children of the enslaved, the former enslaved, and had them to repatriate to the religion, even if they didn't have a desire to want to go back to the homeland of their ancestors? They could have accepted the ways of their forefathers, the traditions of their forefathers, if they wanted to continue them. Because humankind has a responsibility to be left with choice. So it would be wise for us to understand what was the thinking of those who were in authority that made sure that they gave a religion to the children of the enslaved, former enslaved, and made sure that they never got to hear the truth of their past, which was that they had an alternative other than Christianity that was being practiced in Africa. And that religion was called Islam. A major religion that had great influence in African development. Now, I'm not saying that to push Islam. I'm saying that because it's a historical fact. And unless we get the courage to speak this real truth, for what reason? For us, our children, to fill that empty space that they ended up with because they weren't properly educated, for them to be aligned with the natural development of humankind, because they were made to feel they were less valuable than other human beings. They were unable to achieve the human respect and dignity as other human beings. In fact, the story of man's evolution coming through apes, that's a mistake or an outright intentional lie. Regardless of what you may want to have me to see that's in books, or maybe the position of some scientists, there is no factual support to that fact that black people evolved from the family of apes. Now, why could I say that unequivocally and stand by it without a doubt of it being disproven as being incorrect or proven as being incorrect? What I'm saying here, if we evolved from apes, then tell me the last time you knew about a human being having an ape as a child. Because if we can't evolve from apes, it will be in our genealogy. It will be in our genes. And what's in our genes comes out. So give me the last time you heard about a human being delivering an ape as one of their children. Being we evolved from apes. That was the last time a human being had an ape as a child. Now, Real Talk says genealogy, study of genes, study of human development, says that male and female human beings produce male and female children. Human beings. Please give me, if you have it recorded, the last time you heard a human being producing a child described as an ape, seen and looking like an ape. I say that, I'm spending a little bit of time with it because I want you to at least have the courage to think about it a little bit. And some of us have been sold the idea and we have accepted it hook, line, and sinker. Why? Because we've been conditioned to trust in authorities that we have been made to believe is in our interests. And whatever they told us, we believed it. So much so, even when they talk about the truth of what Christopher Columbus did or didn't do, the authorities are afraid to change the history books because of who they may need to give credit to when the truth comes out. Made Christopher Columbus look like he was a great dude. But a lot of the things that are attributed to Christopher Columbus, he never done them. And now the facts and the truth is out about that. They don't want to change the history books. Why? because it's a huge influence negatively with that lie remaining in place to do what? Mislead, miseducate, and confuse. Social dysfunction. Our children of the black community have ended up with social dysfunction. Why? Because they have not been given what they need to have to fill the emptiness that they've been left with. They've been neglected. They haven't been given the truth of the matter. And we're leaving our children to be raised by those who do not really care for our children. Social studies has proven that our children are suffering because of lack of good guidance, not because they are bad children. Their guidance, they're losing. They haven't arrived at a good understanding of their own value because they have not been given good guidance. This is the real talk we need to have amongst ourselves, and even question why we need to tell this truth now as firmly and direct as it needed to be. How much do we really care about our loved ones and the future of our next generation and generations to come? How much do we really care? Because lack of care is partly responsible of why our young people are so dysfunctional, because they don't get to feel as though they're as valued because of the lack of care that's reflected in the dysfunction of the society that they have, that has failed to look out for them. The streets are raising our children, and what's in the street today? Spend the night tonight reflecting on what the streets reflect today. What is it that our children are picking up from the streets that has more to do with them and their negativity than they are getting from home? And because the streets are more dominant than what the home has got to offer, the children find themselves compelled to be guided by the street because they want to feel as though they are what they say, and children feel, I forget what the term they use, oh man. Anyhow, children need to feel as though they have a value and purpose. That purpose, where do we think our children can get that purpose from? Who are we expecting to give our young people a good idea of what the purpose should be for them? Calling on Balance Matters. The lines were flashing. I wanted to satisfy who I was showing. You on Balance Matters?
Yes, good evening. How you doing, my brother?
I'm thankful, man.
Good. I'm just listening to you describe your situation tonight, and it's so many other mitigating factors that making that statement of yours, more accurate.
Okay.
Ideally, if you single it out in Bermuda, our youth are working in like a 3 square mile radius.
Yes.
These things are important to know But what I wanted to know is what the damage has been done over the decade with you 10 to 25-year-olds. How many of them died? How many of them locked up? How many of them left? That's what I like to know. Because we can't have that many left after 10 years. There's so many dying and leaving.
Yeah.
So my interest is a little bit broader than, like, and you're absolutely right. They need to be told that they got by. A lot of times I spend now just giving guys information on the simplest form, like, hey, if your friend gets in a little trouble, man, just grip him by the arm and take him in. Yeah. That's something slight,
Yes.
Something that I would appreciate when I was a youngster instead of somebody coming up want to give me a book to read, just the reality of it all. But it's a big problem, and it's systematic. But it's not scribed in stone for us.
Yes.
There are exceptions to the rule that we could use and determine our own fate. Because in this world, what you said earlier, the authorities, I guess you could align it on some terms as Caesar. If you want to take it that far, what been taught to render unto Caesar what is Caesar. We don't know no different. We don't get taught no different. We're indoctrinated from youth. When you came up in the 60s, if you asked too many questions, you got slapped in the mouth as a youngster. Those are the realities. So I just like what you're doing, exploiting the information. That's what's key right now.
Yeah.
So I encourage you. Good luck, man.
I don't know how much time you had to be on the airwaves, man, but, I would like to expand on what you said just now. When I think about making sense of what the next steps are, because I like what you said. Instead of putting a book in the person's hand, make them feel like you care first.
Yeah, man.
Rather than try to get them to do something to make us feel good. Let our children feel as though we really sincerely care for them and want to know why they're feeling like they're feeling.
Yeah, and it doesn't take money. It takes the most key ingredient.
Yes.
Time.
Yes. No.
That's what people's not willing to sacrifice with these youngsters. They need to be understood individually and just like you would your own kid, evaluate them to their strengths and give them food for thought.
Yes. Now, with us wanting to identify what needs to be done for us to accept more responsibility, I was saying to one of my good buddies just before coming on the program tonight, where we need to be honest about what is the influence that impacts on our children first. The first influence is family life, man.
Yeah.
That's the first influence. Now, if we want to be honest, if something is going wrong with my child, I'm going to start with my child first. I don't expect that I'm going to be looking at my neighbor's house and wanting to know what my neighbor's doing with my child. I want to talk to my child and ask him or her, do you understand what's expected of you from this household? See, if I get that right, then the conversation, because my children are no different than anybody else's children. Children, they inquire, they test things out.
That's you was a youngster once.
Look, man, I say that all the time, man. I understand my children because I'm real about who I was.
Exactly. Look, my wife said to me one time, at my children, my boys' age were 12 and 13. She said, they're yours now. Just like that.
Yes.
And I didn't exactly know what my role was at that time, but I kind of listened for a bit just to her, and what I picked up on was, son, can you come and take care of your chores? Okay, Mama, give me a minute. And I'm paying attention now because a minute turns into 15.
Yes. Yeah.
And I thought my job was at that point was to get up, get his butt up, do his responsibilities, and don't tolerate no excuses.
Yes.
And it went from there. And I don't patronize my kids. My kids come to me with a dumb idea. I'm gonna tell them it's a dumb idea, but I'm also gonna sit down and explain to them what an idea that may work.
Yes.
You know,
Yes,
it's a balance. They're just children. I mean,
yeah.
we was all young ones. We all know the mistakes that everybody makes. But if you could take some time to not have to waste time reinventing the same tool that you use for yourself,
Yes.
makes sense, right?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes. Yes.
You know, but it's going to take a big effort from the community, because a lot of the bad behavior comes from the seniors.
Yes, man.
And I don't say that disrespectfully to seniors, but every podium that's out there is for seniors.
Look, man. See, that's what you've said just now is the real talk that we need to expand on, man. Not just say it like you and I are saying it. We need to look at, for instance, like I have very little written on my notebook tonight. I didn't intend to do too much of anything tonight other than remind us of what we tried to say last week and improve upon the big picture that was put in front of us last week and see how much is involved rather than go to a new subject. When it comes around to what it is that has gone missing amongst the in our society, the older group of people that's supposed to be leading by example.
Yeah, daddy, like I understand the phases. I'm 58 now, and I could tell you that my whole mission, because I have two sons that are 19 and 22, and I also have a older son and an older daughter, both educated, both professionals in their trade. Things are a little different now in the education department, where it's almost like it's almost like commercial customs. You have to lie so you don't spend all the money you're trying to save by going away. And what happens is the education system is no different. The children are not getting the funds that they need to feel comfortable about setting themselves going forward. Again, you know, you're talking about years and years of school, and you don't even know if you're going to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
that can't be a comfortable feeling or a motivating factor. This country goes through, probably in finance, next to Germany, the most finances go through this country is Germany. Now, I'm seeing Bermuda ranked number 2 in the world as far as finance going through here. You know, we got Google coming here to build a $300 million or $500 million facility. Are they getting anybody ready for AI? Because that's what's coming. And these things are not, look, I had a job when I was younger, and I saw that they was going to build Times Bay. So I went off to school and re-educated myself in that facet and came back and worked for Times Bay for 5 years. Till I went out and worked for myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's not impossible.
Yeah.
You know, you can't feed these youngsters prescriptions and try to get anything quality from them. You got to feed them substance.
Yeah.
I had a program where I'm working with youngsters, 5 of them. Some of them been shot. You know, I've still got 2. But, you know, I'm not going to give up on them, because if you do, you're only giving up on yourself. Your country's going to be taken over just by immigrants. The hardest thing about the youngsters is they have to compete against the PRCs who send their kids back home to get free education.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they're competing against. Imagine that.
Yes.
Just imagine. And then the jobs they compete against are the ones they come back for. It's a cruel world out there that we're living right now. but it can be fixed if we have the fortitude to want to do it. I would say it has to start with politics. Who do you want representing you? Because everybody should ask themselves that. Are you getting the bread out of the basket that's supposed to be yours?
Well, I have a slightly different view or opinion on who's the more important, where it should start from, because before I could get a responsible politician, I need to have a moral person first.
Well, and I agree with you. And I would like to see a moral person as a politician where
that's right.
I'm not working for a career.
Yeah.
Even if I could fix one or two things in my tenure,
yes, I
will be comfortable with that. But you got politicians around here that ain't done nothing.
Yeah.
And are still getting government money. So it's a problem. But people have to gain the knowledge to want to do something about it.
Yes. Well,
I'm one of them people. I'm not going to sit back and let my MP be the deciding factor for me.
That's right. And hence now, for us to when we're talking politics, when we think about something as simple as the strength of the politician is only as strong as the support he gets,
This is true.
So if and when we're dissatisfied with a politician, we shouldn't be supporting them.
Well, I mean, what happens is you get people that want that extra slice of bread, and they will support anything.
Yeah, but see, I could understand you saying that very quickly, but I'd rather deal with one step at a time. If a politician is poor, he doesn't deserve to be supported. Now, if a supporter in the public needs a politician to help them get bread, that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah.
So this is why I beg of us that when we look at these issues, let's be specific and take each issue to its conclusion before moving off to the next one, because sometimes we convolute things only because we're not spending enough time to make a separation and a distinction to what they both represent. So, and that's why I have no doubt in my mind the demand for us to talk things out in these matters. Look, man, I've gotten so much from hearing what you said tonight, You said a whole lot of things in the short time you've been talking,
I just lived the life, bro.
I wish I could say, hey, let's put each one of these things as a subject to be developed. Because when you spoke about you and your experience down Times Bay, brother, that was a brilliant outcome of an individual who had insight and didn't wait. You had projected ideas that became a reality. So that's a story in itself. Rather than
I would like to share it wholeheartedly.
Look, and I'm so thankful that you called in.
I just happened to drive up to my mom's, and I'm listening to you, and the subject that I'm so passionate about right now, you was talking about, which was the youth, and
yeah.
And I want to, just like you said, I want to distinguish what I think a youth is. Anybody 25 and under is a youth to me.
Yes.
Some people may say 21 or whatever, but I think it needs to be distinguished because we got some people out there that's not youth.
Actually, in you making that point, what I've done to sort of incorporate the different age groups is to say I'm dealing with the next generation.
Yes. Yes. That will be a better.
Oh yeah, because we're talking about 15 years of projections is a good generational development, right?
Yes.
So when it comes around to young people, a 15-year-old with a 15-year-old projection takes them up to 30 years old, bruh.
Yep.
So we're talking about developing our society. We need to promote projections. That's why I focused on the idea of purpose. If we want to help our young people, get them to see how important it is for them to be striving towards a meaningful purpose.
Yeah. It takes it. We gotta. the thing about it is, and this is what I've noticed, everybody wants to plant a seed and see something immediately.
And don't work like that.
Plant the seed first.
No, it don't work like that. That's not natural.
You know, you gotta plant the seed. You gotta be patient enough to wait for some of the rewards to come through, because I'm seeing it. You know, like I said, I'm at a few guys.
Yes.
I got one guy that came to me, and he asked me to save his life.
Whoa. Whoa.
Imagine that.
Whoa.
This was his approach, and it's been with me now for about 2.5 years. You know, so it's out there, man. I think, again, it all comes down to the chef and the meal.
Yes.
As to who's going to eat.
Yes.
And with what I'm seeing, it's a lot of fake chefs out there.
Yes.
You want to call it that.
But
I'm gonna keep moving forward doing what I'm gonna do, because I'm gonna be an encouraging factor.
I'm gonna say this here for our sake, right? Our sake. I would encourage people like ourselves to actually communicate our similar ideas and objectives, because we make growth when we connect. Society grows when we connect. When we don't make connections, we're left separate, and separation doesn't grow great communities.
Yeah, and I look at it on both sides, just so you know.
Yes.
Because just as you have that feeling of growth, expectation.
Yes.
Because of the world that we live in these days, your failure.
Yes.
It's probably somebody else's success.
Yes.
And you have to keep that in mind while walking this path.
Yes.
Don't forget what you said earlier. We've been indoctrinated to believe what we've been told.
Yes.
And it's a real thing.
Yes.
And I'm talking about all the way down the line. It's a real. We've been made to believe things that didn't even happen.
Believe me, brother, I'm hearing clearly what you're saying to me right now. And the reason why I chose to come back and develop what we started last week, because we cannot move away from important ideas so quickly without us confirming if we understand our responsibility in these ideas.
Yeah.
And once we say honestly that we accept to be accountable and responsible, then we then make progress, man. When we're genuinely saying what we mean, we will show in our works, man. Our results will show it, man.
And that passion is real.
Yes.
And I'll always be the backside. Just don't forget about the back door.
Yes.
These people use that passion like as a fruit. Once you eat it up, that's it. Like, again, every time you want to move forward, somebody wants to bring you back.
Yeah.
So we have to, instead of trying to jump forward, let's creep. Because that's the only way forward right now. And the only reason why I'm on the journey that I'm on right now is because I am afraid that my senses tell me that a lot of this stuff, and, you know, don't get me wrong when I say this, my mind's telling me that it's a foregone conclusion.
What's a foregone conclusion?
It cannot be turned around. That's my biggest fear.
No, man. Look, history has recorded that man has fallen and gotten up many a times, man.
Mm-hmm.
Man has made mistakes. He didn't always go out and destroy life intentionally. Some men have made mistakes unwillingly, paid the price for their mistake, and rebuilt, man. So this idea of someone preventing my progress is a non-starter. When we decide to want to achieve what is what we deserve to achieve, brother, there is nothing that's going to stop that.
Well, I tell you what. I'm so passionate about it. I could tell you that I have gone out and walked the streets and talked to my people and just trying to figure out which bread they want to eat. I'm walking the walk. I'm not just about talk.
So I could assume that you're a believer that it's worthwhile doing.
This is my fear that I don't want it to be a foregone conclusion. I have a grandson now that if I fail, I'm failing him. And I'm not about to put that on the table for discussion right now.
Anyhow, you left me hanging on that one right now. It's either what you're doing is worthy of even living and dying for, or it's not worthy at all. You can't have it both ways, man.
Yeah, and again, it's okay. Like, I understand where your confusion may come in, but it's about like, okay.
No. I think I'm giving you quite a bit of time. The lines are flashing right now, so I'm going to move on.
Have a good night, my friend. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much for your contribution
all right,
as well,
brother.
all right? Have the rest of a great evening.
Good night. Yeah, man.
Calling on Balance Matters.
Good evening, Cromwell. How you doing?
I'm thankful, man.
Good. You bet your bottom boot or your boots that politicians have everything that has got us in this position.
Yes.
From my personal view, politicians create the conditions for opportunity, for training, which inevitably leads to entrepreneurship. So we used to have a Bermuda of a lot of entrepreneurs. I know you know that.
Yes.
Whether it was 200-300 musicians that had their own gig, or whether it was construction, or whether it was little variety stores, or the shoemaker, or the hairdresser. We were entrepreneurs. The ultimate dream when you're doing anybody's career, the ultimate one is to be your own boss. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, most times driving a person that has great ambitions, that's normally the ambition, yes.
Right, and your politicians or your country or politics creates that environment for it to exist.
Yes.
Because if we were allowed third world, that's why we have a stop on, I don't know if there's foreign hairdressers or foreign taxi drivers. If not, there'd be no local taxi drivers, right? Just like there's no Masons, right? That would exist. So the politicians create that. So at the end of the day, which type of careers that the government can concentrate on can create a lot of entrepreneurs. So the hotels are shut down, so we can have musicians. What still exists today that we used to do, but like you and the gentleman said, it's training.
Yes.
So you're at home training your kid. It would be nice for him to go to work. We got male problems to then go to a career that has males, so not knitting or sewing preferably. I ain't gonna name it because you know who I am, and people get tired of hearing the industries that are catered to men and hard work and people who have problems that need to work hard in order to get to sleep. Right? It's not just sports. There's careers that can aid in this with children that grow up from broken homes and troubled homes. So it's exercise. So there is a career that creates the exercise, which creates to be trained, and then you end up from that training, you can then become an entrepreneur, whether it was back in the day, you worked for somebody during the week, and then weekends, you either help mama, cousin, or you helped yourself because you couldn't afford to get a contractor to come do it. You made your own money, or you made enough money for the week to change your doorknobs, to change your windows, to change somebody else's windows, and you're making the same money the contractor had you charged out for all week. So entrepreneurship creates pride. Entrepreneurship, and back then, under the UBP, did we have entrepreneurs? So we had a very, what we say, racist, white people ran the country, but we had entrepreneurs. We had black people that had tons of pride. Did they fly the flag and walk around like Trump with Bermuda flag shorts? I say not, but we had a better country.
Yes.
And to this day, if you hold out a Bermuda flag, a Bermudian walking around with a Bermuda flag, it's got something wrong with him. He needs to go see a doctor on either side. And I'll say that again, either side. You won't see a contractor driving around with a Bermuda flag on his truck. He would definitely have to go to the nut house. So at the end of the day, what are these guys doing that we're having a problem with? What's the incentive in that industry? It's not just money. They're entrepreneurs. The desire to have your own business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more than just money. They got the same desire that we all had. But we have careers now. You go to a job site, the ladder gets pulled up. There's no training around here. There's no time for that. And the politicians or politics creates that environment. It's called supply and demand. So I've been unemployed for a long time now. I just pick banana leaves, and if I can find a reef that needs some extra coral, I put that on there. Or I clean somebody's tires. Because there's consequences for speaking to industries that need to train. Or, let me put it this specifically. What happened to me as a child, you're not to promote that for the next round of children.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that.
Yes.
You're not going to get the door open for you or people willing to listen to you if you're promoting, let's look out for the children. Because it's a global world now, right? And I'm going back to that again. Politics creates that. Politicians create the environment for people to be trained. And it leads to entrepreneurship, which you don't actually have to love your country because your family has been affected through negative politics and white and black. And now it's come down to, as we have to, because we've hit the nail on the head now because we have a black, it's class. Oh, we have racial issues and we have racial people. We have patriotic people. They won't hire you due to patriotism. But we're not patriotic, right? Because we have so many other issues and race gets all up in it that we're unpatriotic. We don't want a flag. Whites don't want a flag. Blacks don't want a flag. Portuguese don't want us to have a flag. But go ask them what they think of their flag. You know, so entrepreneurship is the ultimate desire. So which politician or politics is going to create an environment for entrepreneurship? And which industries, not one by one, which industries can a government target specifically, like this is the way we're going? Definitely not anything to do with Southampton Princess. That speaks volumes that they're not interested in that. They only want to donate money to some rich guy, right? So he can bring in, right? Now it's save the hotel. It's not save the children. How many children's up there being trained with all that cheap labor? The government should have said, look, we're not going to give you the money to build the hotel like that. We'll give you your cheap labor. And the government should have come up with all that $65 million. They should have paid children to be up there learning then, right?
See, look.
Huh? $65 million that gave this rich guy. But they could have said, yeah, we'll give you your foreign cheap labor because this hotel is so important, but here's $65 million worth of wages. You're going to take these 50 children for the next 4 years, so it's probably more than that, 200 children, and they're going to be on the job site and we're going to pay them. And you guys teach them. No, that's not the way it goes. The business community is not going to fall for that. So ultimately,
in looking at business, period, business doesn't require that everybody end up being an entrepreneur. It won't work that way.
Which industries create entrepreneurship?
No.
If you had these hotels come in, the first industry,
could you let me make my
hotels
point?
started getting set up again.
Could you let me make my point?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not taking away from what you said. I'm giving a viewpoint of looking at business, period. Regardless of who's doing work, it's required that business respect all the units of work. Whoever's part of the business, they need to be given respect for the work that they do. So if a person doesn't have a desire to be an entrepreneur, it doesn't take away from his value as being a laborer. The person that's delivering labor on any job, regardless of what job it is. In your case, you put a lot of emphasis on construction. But the worker is not just in construction, and the worker doesn't end up being entrepreneurs. All of them can't be entrepreneurs. Somebody's got to be the subordinate. So when it comes around to us treating the worker, I believe that we should put emphasis on giving them the treatment that they rightfully deserve. And in turn, everybody gets to be seen as valuable on the job.
Can I use this as an example?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right now, the opportunity for our children are to go drive trucks. So let's say Butterfield and Vallis. You're driving trucks, and you're the best truck driver, and you ain't hit nobody. No insurance claims. What can you do on the weekend that job has taught you when you're knocked off? How can you help your mama or your granny with that career? So it's not, Bermudians were not entrepreneurs, a lot of them, in the construction industry 5 days a week. They were entrepreneurs on Saturday and Sunday and nights.
But the truck driver is an honorable worker. A valuable truck driver is an honorable worker.
I ain't denying that.
So,
but entrepreneurship is the ultimate desire to which everyone would love to achieve.
That's one of them. The entrepreneurship should not be seen as the ultimate desire only, because not everybody wants to be controlling the business. Most people just want to have gainful employment. Most people. That's why most people are the common blue-collar workers.
Well, those conditions, in order, you can create those conditions. Like if we were to have 4 hotels, Southampton Princess, Elbow Beach, Bermuda, all open up again, where would be do you think we as a community would expect there to be entrepreneurship created within hotels opening up? Yeah, you're going to have all the people working in the bar and the chambermaids and all of that. But if you're looking for entrepreneurship, people to dictate when they're working, when they're going to go to their kids' school function, when they're going to go away, when they're tackling the next job, what entrepreneurship within that hotel industry is a place that government can assist in creating the ultimate. Why are we setting these standards? Government shouldn't be setting the standards for everybody to go work for government. Let's use that as an example. Because we got a huge, massive government. And look where it hasn't helped with any of our issues. So if government was to hire everybody, as we can see, it doesn't help the country.
That's true.
Because that's money going out. The government has even touted that they're going to, I heard this a long time ago, and I think PLP is saying we're going to privatize. Or the idea floated around for a long time. It'll probably come up again, like independence. So if I go back to the hotel, it would be musicians. And that doesn't mean a musician, if he doesn't have anything to do during the day, he can go hustle during the day and he becomes a musician at night. And that's where you had character and pride. And all I'm saying is these conditions under a UPP government, want to get politics now, let's go to the political side, all these conditions existed under the UPP for it to happen. But we did have a union there at that time that would have never allowed Southampton Princess to have these 130 Cuban workers back then. We would have never allowed the construction industry to not train, for there to be no union in the construction industry. These conditions are not there. You see what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying.
The union around would set the standard to what people were going to get paid, the expectation to get trained. The union is null and void in the private sector today, and that's by choice. You don't hear them speaking to any private issues. The union, please help me if I'm wrong. Can you name one other? The union is a government entity. That's not what unions are throughout the world. If you go to Azores, the construction industry is unionized. How did it become that? It's not race, because 98% of them is Portuguese. But there's a union. So how did that union come about in a society that is not based on race? Our union is based on race. Our union is based on all we want is government workers. All we want is a massive government, which doesn't help all of us. And that's why they talk about privatization. The bill with money coming in and the money going out is the exact same. So there's never money in the kitty for anything else. So we talk about privatizing the trash service, privatizing the works in engineering. These are all things that have, let's be real, these have come up in the last 25 years under a PLP government.
Well, let's see what
So what you're saying, what I'm telling you again is entrepreneurship. You're saying not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, but when they talk about privatization, I don't know, depending on how they do it, if not, they're going to give it all to
my good brother,
the existing landscaping firms.
My good brother, look. The greater the number of people would not be hired if you had everybody wanting to be an entrepreneur. Now, common sense says that we will not be able to service the greater majority of people if we drive the idea that everybody should want to be an entrepreneur. It's not wise to even think like that, man. When it comes around to, just a minute, look, when it comes around to reasonable amount of people understanding the value of entrepreneurship, then have that number of people fulfill their role and they meet the needs and requirement of the society. But to expect that majority of us end up being entrepreneurs is not the answer to our problem, because most of the common people who are looking for an honorable way of living is not going to be looking to be an entrepreneur. They just want a job.
I'm definitely not saying the majority of people, but government sets the conditions for that to exist. It's about supply and demand, just like government in the private sector has the ability to set the standard of pay. In the private sector, without union, it has the ability to stimulate or to create what an industry is going to get paid based on supply and demand.
Yes,
that is controlled by politics and a government. So if the construction industry has not had a raise in 25 years and it's $5 less than what it was 25 years ago, that has everything to do, has nothing to do with Bermudians are lazier. It has nothing to do with Bermudians are black or if they're white. It has everything to do with supply and demand, and those conditions are set by people that we vote in politics.
All right, my brother. Thank you very much for your contribution for tonight.
Okay, mate.
And the rest of
Have
a great
nice
evening.
You too, mate.
I think would be a good time to take a little breather and have us to consider how we could speak to what it is that we need to encourage amongst ourselves in order for us to address the needs of our community. And it's not the easiest issue to address. If it was, we wouldn't have the type of challenges that we have on our plate as a community, as a society. If and when we look at each set of issues for what they're worth and recognize the value of these issues, then we will recognize and encourage ourselves to institute what's required to facilitate those issues. If and when we agree that we need to look at what's required for our young people to see the need of today, we need to ask ourselves, as older people, are we giving good guidance to younger people to move in the right direction? And that's why it's so important that we end up being more honest than what we're used to being, more direct than what we're used to being, more open than what we're used to being, and to speak to our intent while we're dealing with the subjects. And when we honestly hear what it is that is our position as individuals. And when I say individuals, politicians most times, male or female, they have a responsibility as parents too. Most politicians, as family people, want the same things for their children that any other decent human being wants for their children. Politicians end up understanding what's required in the life of a human being, whereas they are not one-dimensional. They fulfill all the capacities that will allow their children and their families and their communities to be balanced. So in turn, they equip themselves to address the need to have a balanced individual, a balanced neighborhood, a balanced broader community, and in turn, that child of the politician ends up getting what it needs to have its needs fulfilled. You see that beautiful picture? That even the politician needs to have a balanced community for he and his family to achieve. So just as we play the music here tonight, when we get back, let us see what we can say to ourselves to speak to the realities. great Marvin Gaye. The number is 297-1027. We're talking Balance Matters. When I look at the challenges that allow me to be, first of all, conditioned to accept responsibility, I look at the continued evolution of a community. And this community doesn't go without having recognition of people that left their indelible mark amongst us as great contributors. If we're aware of our history, we have people that we are indebted to because of their sacrifice that they made for us to have a better way of life, to see opportunities and to take advantage of opportunities that was there or is there for us to take and be a part of. And if we accept our roles, we could make progress in latching on to the next developments that comes along with what those before us has already started. So when I look at the evolution of our community of people that's made up of what? It's not just blacks. It's not just whites. The community is made up of different types of people, not just the blue-collar worker or the entrepreneur. It's made up of wealthy people, educated people, political people, the social scientists and social developers, the ones that's looking out in the interest of having a balanced community life for young people to grow up in, a social environment that's going to be helpful for sound development of children. We have to look at understanding how are these areas to be represented in its best model. It has to be represented by people who are going to accept to be demonstrating their responsibilities with best practices. Without a doubt, today, the age in which we're dealing with today is clearly defining what has gone missing amongst the human family. Honorable thinking people, honorable acting people, morality in all fields of endeavor has gone missing. And in turn, lack of honorability, lack of being morally conscious and accepting to be a moral model for any of those coming after us requires for us to do and be on our best behavior in representing the areas that we find ourselves a part of. personally find it very rewarding at this stage of my life when I examine society as close as I do, when I look at the state of the human family, it doesn't take me long to understand that I can't be more of the same and think that things are going to change. Whatever has fallen short in the human family, we need to say honestly, we need to do better. I find it very interesting that we don't so quickly stand up and have the courage to say that to each other. And I have a good idea of why. Because we don't want to be seen as having to be responsible for carrying the load of the example that's got to be set. Caller, on Balance Matters.
Yes, good evening, Brother Shakir.
Yes, good evening to you too, my brother.
Yes, bro. Shakir, this is a very, very, very important show tonight. All your shows are good, but this is also adds to it, right?
Yes.
You're talking about young people, and a lot more Bermudians, we have to get on board, which we are. I'm not saying that, but it's not taking place.
Yes.
Because I see the signature school coming out.
Yes.
You have to excuse me too. I'm losing my grills. Yeah. Yeah, good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, we have to get our young people on board. And it's happening. Signature school, right?
Yes.
You see things are happening there. Children that want to use their hands. You see?
Yes.
And they can get trade. See, it's an entrepreneur there.
Yes.
And also help.
Yes.
In the industry. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I see that it's going to work. Provided that the teachers have more say in the policy making, also the subject that these children can pick up on. Because you always find out a child that don't want to learn what they're teaching. So you have to go deep within that child. You have to start asking them questions. What would you like to be as for a job or a career? And they will start talking to you. You see, it's a simple fix.
Yes.
So we have to sort of work on that, right?
Yes.
Because look, I had a young guy the other day. We just came out of trouble. I said, "What would you like to be? Would you like to work for yourself, or would you like to work, in an industry?" "Well, Uncle, I would like to work for myself." I said, "Well, what would you like to do?" "I would love to be a plumber." He said, "You know what? Come give me a hug." I had your husband, brother, man, just came. He would love to be a plumber. I said, "You keep focused on that. You're gonna be the best plumber, or one of the best plumbers in Bermuda. This is what I want to do. I want to hire my brothers. If a sister wants to come along, I hire her too." I said, "I love your spirit, brother." I said, "Anytime that you have any problems working towards that goal, come have a conversation with me."
Yes.
I said, "It's very, very important to your core." He said, "Thank you so much, Uncle. Thank you." And he went along. But see, we cannot drop the ball on our young people. We must key into them.
Yes.
Princess is coming on board. That's a beautiful business up there, right? And look, I encourage people to go up there, young people. They can run that place. But they have to join the union because they have to be protected, right?
Yeah.
They have to be.
Yes.
Because you find that some of these people come here from overseas to run this place, right? They have their own ideas, right? But you see the union, right? They must get a union, what do you call it now, a union book, where they know where the union stands and not going to take any dumb stuff from them because there's rules. These children are going to learn that. Because that's their protection. You know, so we got to, like I said, Shakira, man, you know, this is something that I love to do, and I see you love to do it too.
Yes. You know,
Because
Crosby,
we knew, yes, bro.
before you move on, because I first of all, I appreciated so much what you done last week in really setting the standard on the discussion last week, brother. I got so much from your genuine input, and I want people like yourself to understand that you're the type that motivates me to do what I'm doing tonight. I want you to know that, number one. Number two, I would like for us to also take into account that when a young guy or a young person, be male or female, come in front of us and say that they want to be their own boss, we need to also get them to understand that they should understand what's expected of them, of how to start in the labor force by knowing what their role is as a worker.
Yes.
See, not everybody's gonna start off from the top. You don't start off from being your own boss. You start off from being a subordinate to another manager or an owner. And for people to understand, for the worker to understand their role within the system.
That's right. Because they have to be taught, yeah?
Yeah, because we got to get our children to understand.
Yes.
It's okay for them to want to be their own boss, because I've heard a lot of reasons why guys or people feel like they want to work for themselves. I've heard some very, very unusual reasons why people want to work for themselves. And they very seldom get to understand how they should be as a laborer.
Yeah, that's right.
They can't hold their own job as a laborer.
That's right.
So they're not going to do well being their own boss if they don't learn how to be a good laborer.
Right,
because the same guy that owns his business is going to want to have good laborers working for him.
Absolutely. It's a process.
Yeah. So, and there lies why I say, if and when we are discussing these matters, we need to cover from ground up.
More scope. Okay, from ground up.
From ground up.
Yeah.
See, the objective of being our own boss is the finality of having complete control of our destiny. But when a person starts out in the labor field, they don't start out being their own boss.
No, it's not common sense, is it?
No, it's not. It's not the expected thinking of anyone to be promoting that the persons that wants to start work should be thinking about being their own boss right away. It's just not the most reasonable approach to having us as in the labor force understanding our roles in the workforce.
Yeah.
Once our children understand their role, and then when they are being tested to see if they have fulfilled their role, there lies how they're going to end up. And in some cases, like I remember one time, one of my sons, man, he disappointed himself, and he disappointed me more in him letting down people that gave him opportunities to get and achieve what he said he wanted, which was an opportunity to do work. When he got on the job, he started acting in a way that caused him not to be favored. And he started making excuses as to why others are being allowed to do what he thought they shouldn't be doing. So I said to him, I said, listen, how can you put so much time in trying to get your boss to deal with someone else who you're looking at? And here it is, your boss is seeing that you're not even being competent in doing your job.
Oh, there you go.
So how are you expecting your boss to deal with the other party who you're criticizing
Yeah.
or you're looking at as getting away with stuff
You go.
when it comes around to measuring your work? You're not deserving of remaining on the job because you're not fulfilling your job.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
So I said, you just created an opening for another foreigner to come in here because you're about to be fired.
That's right.
Now, I told my son that right off the bat. I said, you ain't got no reason to be looking at the other guy who he seems to have had a problem with, who was a foreigner. I said, the foreigner has not got the complaint that he's not doing his job. The foreigner is doing his job. Here you are about to be considered for being removed because you are not fulfilling what you came on the job to do. So I said, how could you talk about someone else and you are not fulfilling your role yourself?
There you go.
So,
this type of talk,
yes,
this type of talk that we need.
So my point being, I told my son right off the bat, I said, man, you can't talk to me about that other guy, even though that other guy may not be so favorable. But when you are failing yourself, you ain't got no room to talk about nobody else.
Yeah. That's right.
You ain't got no room, man. And I told him, you let down the people that gave you the opportunity to be on the job site, man, because they thought you was going to be responsible. So I said, look, man, see this as a lesson. You can't come home and ask me to fight a fight for you that you're not willing to stand on your own.
Yeah.
You got to be accountable first before you look at someone else, man.
And real talk.
Yeah, so and that's why I say, if and when we are going to address our needs, the greater and broader society is made up of all types of people, man. So if and when we look at how we're to measure and see the responsibility of these different types of people, we need to be honest about what's expected of us and answer, are we fulfilling our job, man?
And just to be all of us too, kid. Not just not you and I and others that think like this, right? But it's gotta be all of us.
Yes, man.
And Lord to break this this demon.
Yes,
that's
man.
surrounding us.
Look,
so I see it happening, but
Yeah, look. But look, you know what I say to my grandchildren when we're around the dinner table? I say, listen, you see all these very different faces we have in Bermuda today?
Oh my God,
it's reflecting what's globally changing around the world. You go to any metropolitan city, you got all different types of immigrants, man. People are traveling from one nation to the other, trying to make a better way of life for themselves, man. They are answering the requests of those who are seeking labor in different parts of the world. So these new faces that we end up with in front of us, they didn't just come in here against the law, you know. Somebody invited them to a job that they ended up fulfilling.
Yep, that's right.
Now, I'm going to say that for the second time. I'm going to repeat that. The foreign face that we have here has been invited to come here because a place has to be filled for them to do the job. If someone else replaces that position, they are not able to come.
That's right.
So I tell my grandchildren, don't get angry at these people because of what you think about who's taking the place of Bermudians. They have been invited to come here. They didn't break no law in getting there. They were invited to come here, and they end up fulfilling the request of the job that they got invited to be a part of. No, why are they being invited? Because the opening has been created for them to be here.
That's right. Absolutely.
Now, whoever wants to get angry at that there, don't get angry at Cromwell Secure about that. That's the fact of life.
Yeah. It's what's going on in Bermuda, man.
Yeah.
It's just what's going on right now, you know. It's in a depopulation, man. Just let us look at it. You know, so we have to get there and protect that, you know.
Yeah.
Get our young ones in the hotels and the hospital. Oh my gosh, man. Up the hotel, you know, golf course are looking for guys to maintain that golf course. So there's a lot of openings, you know.
Yeah.
God just sitting on the side of the roads, man, you know, doing their thing among different parishes. Get up off your butts, you know, and go out there and just get it done. You get cleaned up. Do what you have to do because God, you know, give you these ideas and wishes for you to do. But these guys are not fulfilling those wishes, you know.
Yes, and see, and
to make things better for their families. You know, hand the guns in, hand the knives in. You can't control that. You know, if they come and get you, lock you up for life, right? Maybe we need some examples.
yes,
So you know, we have to get these guns, which is a good thing they're doing now. Like we mentioned the other night, putting these trash cans out there and collecting these things, right?
yes.
But we must get these statistics on that. You're down the stretch. But, you know, things are being done, you know?
And you saying it like that it is a puzzle.
Yeah.
You know, one thing about a puzzle, you can't put a wrong piece in the wrong place.
For sure, bro.
The puzzle will never be completed if you put one piece in the wrong place.
Yeah. And plus, it's time consuming. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you start to put them pieces,
So-
like you said, don't fit. But
Yes.
you keep on trying to try. Don't give up.
And we're going to be honest. See, tonight, I'm actually a bit disappointed that more people haven't chosen to want to talk tonight. You know why? This is a conversation and a subject that we should want to at least be heard if we're serious and sincere about what it is that we think our future needs, man.
Yes.
I don't know who we think should be talking about this stuff or to put out there in the public the ideas that's in our best interest for our children.
Yes.
I don't know who do we think should be talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
It leads me to believe that many of us think one thing, but you're doing something else.
Absolutely. You know?
And the fact that we don't feel as though this type of cry that I put out tonight calls for those that have something to contribute.
Absolutely.
Well, say something, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Say something, man. No, we're sitting by and got our critical ears on, but we don't have our contributing ears on. We want to be critical, but we don't want to contribute. And as long as we stay like that, our children are going to continue to be left behind because we are not really stepping up, stepping out, and doing what we have to do so our children can model after us.
Beautiful piece you just said, brother. You know, and I'm going to add to that very shortly, right? That, you know, we have to do this because, if not, like you say, we see it, right? And there's always a solution. And I think tonight, Shakira, that this show we're having right now, is solution-based. You see, we know what we're going to do, so hey, let's get it done.
And I
see it getting done, but at least we picked up momentum on this show. Because we are family now. There's no doubt about it, man. You look at and listen to your show.
Yeah,
we are about a family.
Yes, man.
To get this thing done that we need to get done. Even right down to self-determination.
Yes.
I heard a brother the other night on TV, let me cut you short, but I heard a guy on TV the other night talking about, I think he's getting money for helping the guy that's in trouble with guns. I forget his name, but, anyway, he's saying that it's not just going to take him do it, it has to take all of us.
Yes.
Right? Even right down to being, self-determination. Because there's lots of rules. We're putting things out there in the public, right? And it's getting turned on by the higher ups. And we know who they are. Who they are, right? So I ain't talking about the PLP now. I'm talking about somebody above them.
Yes.
So we have to look at that also. That's a very powerful thing right now. We have to look at what we need for our country, you see. Otherwise it gets all messed all up. You go get what? Permission.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Who would want permission?
Yes.
Let me see our country falling apart, especially our young seeds getting shot. Because of what? Because of guns. So there's a lot of things that we have to fix. But I'll let somebody else get on.
Thank you very much,
Crofty. Faith, man, and say love to your wife and your family.
You likewise, man.
I'm getting upset right now because I'm getting very emotional.
Hey, man, you have a right to be upset, and let us continue to focus our dissatisfaction in the right direction.
Thank you, brother.
Have the rest of a great evening, Crofty.
God bless.
Call you on Balance Matters. Call you on Balance Matters. Call you on Balance Matters.
Good evening, sir. I was trying to get in, and you were saying you thought more people would call tonight, but I've been trying for quite some time, but I was doing it where you had callers on.
Yeah.
But let me say, I've enjoyed what I've heard thus far tonight. I turned on soon after you came on, but I'm somehow I missed last week.
Yes.
The call, and so I was at a loss. That's what the conversation was last week.
Yes.
But just from what I'm hearing tonight, right? I think back in the day, right? I'm a construction guy.
Yes.
Back in the day, we as a black community built, and this is ain't first time this has been said. This is just the way it was. We didn't go to the bank to take out a loan to pay somebody to build our homes, right? We done it as a community, especially if you had the immediate family, brothers or cousins. They would build a home, help each other, and once home's done, they go and help the other, and a pot of food was cooked, and then if they took up money, it was just to complete the house, maybe put the roof on, but then we got to a stage where things changed, where people were saying, no, I don't want my son to have to work construction. I'm going to educate him and let him go work. Son, don't become a mason. It's hard work, right? I'm his son. I want you to be better. I want you to get an education, become an accountant, become a lawyer, become a doctor. And now, a lot of them follow that. So now we don't have any mechanics. That together with the technical school closing, and guys, that was open in the first place to train us guys to service the businessman. And when we came out of tech, with all of those male instructors telling us, listen, get a trade, get an education, become your own boss. That's what we done. And when they saw that happening, what did they do? They closed tech because we were servicing them. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I do. I'm following
okay.
you.
I didn't hear anything.
No, that's okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'm allowing you to say exactly what you need to say.
All right, brother. Appreciate it. I was just making sure.
Yeah. You got me
anyway,
listening, man. You got me listening.
Yeah. Anyway, now I went to tech, trained as a carpenter, and I built my own home. And when I built my home, I was supported by my parents, and my brother worked with me, and we were both single. And I built my home, and when I built my home, I built it with apartments. That's another thing that we done. When we built a house back in the day, we built it with apartments, so that apartment could pay for any money spent on the house, right? And now that I've where I am now, I would love to be able to be still out there, but I'm blind now, and I can't help the situation of getting young men to be in the trades, right?
Yes.
Because when I built my house, I was trained as a carpenter. Went to school, got a degree in industrial technology. And my first job offer while I was in school out in Central State, Ohio, was to go to work to Eldorado, right? That's the sports car.
Yes.
The Cadillac.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I think at that time, and this was in like 77, at that time, I was offered about, I think it was like $40,000 and an Eldorado every 2 years. That was my starting package.
Yes.
Cromwell, I turned that down. You know why? I wanted to build my own home. And I don't regret that move.
Yes.
I don't regret it because I was at the high school, I was at tech, I was trained as a carpenter. Building my own home, I employed electrician.
Yes.
And I employed a plumber. Once I finished this home, I built my brother's home. All right?
Yes.
And I didn't need the plumber because I worked with the plumber as I'm doing my house, and I didn't need the plumber. When I finished this home, his apartment house, I built his private home, and I didn't need anybody. Right? Because I learned, and all I'm saying is, if you get trained especially as a carpenter, the other trades come easy to you. So I say to any young person out there, man, get in the trades, right? Get in the trades because there's nobody here doing it now. Yeah, that's why we got all these, I guess it's hundreds up at Southampton Princess. Building what's got to be done up there. But there's a lot of building going on, and I'm saying to guys, look, and I don't know how long it's going to last, but the construction thing goes in cycles.
Yes.
So somebody pick up the trades, and you could never, you will never regret it, because AI is gonna wipe out a lot of these white collar jobs.
Yes.
So once you're a tradesman, you're always a tradesman.
Trades are a very valuable part of the workforce.
That's right.
And, you know, I was sharing a conversation with someone on the very same subject you've put an emphasis on. And his point to me was, without me saying too much of anything, he said, you know, where we need to be pointing a guilty finger, we made our children feel as though being in work like trades was not as honorable as other professions. So we got our children to think that looking at academic skills was more dignified than being in the building field. Because building covers a lot of trades.
That's right.
And for our children to feel as though it was more dignity and honor in having a skill that was more academically inclined rather than the trades, we made a terrible mistake in leaving our children to believe that.
Yep.
And they weren't encouraged to move towards the field of trades because they were made to feel there was a greater accomplishment if they went into other fields. Now, today, look at who is the majority of tradesmen and owners of construction companies today. Look at who they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the building doesn't stop. If you're not putting a new building up, you're renovating.
Yeah.
So building never stops.
Yeah.
Never stops. So
and Shakir, the way of building in my time, I'm a guy that I didn't build houses out of wood. I didn't build it out of stone, right? But I did build out of block. And I tell you right now, I was, I'll give you a little story. I was up in the Covella Bay area, and I was dry stacking, building a house using block.
yes,
right?
yes,
And I went to this, and I'm gonna call his name, John Kaufman. He hired me to do some building for him because he was an architect,
yes,
right? And he said, "Look, I want to make a baby build in Bermuda. I want to make it as economical as possible." Then he interviewed me, and because I was able to do everything when it came to the building house at that time, and he said, "I want you to dry stack the block and use fiberboard." Right? He was the guy that created the SKB system and fiberboard.
yes, yes,
right?
yes.
And he told me, I'll tell you what, how many guys you got at that time? I had 2 masons and a labor. And he said, I'll give you another labor. Here's my draft. I want you to take him out with you, and I want you to bust his so-and-so, because I want him to see what it takes to transfer a line on a drawing paper to a reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, he came out there, and he was so, he was older than me, but he was willing to make this project successful, right? And a guy was walking by, and it was just before, I think, the Hurricane Emily.
Yes.
And I think I completed the house and was moved to a second house. And the guy from Somerset was walking past because he had after the hurricane. I got it. After the hurricane, he was walking to the house that he was maintaining, which was in the same area. walked by and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Because Houston David's on us. You come up here, you go, you don't build that, babe." So I told him, I said, "Look, you see that house there? That's that house was built." And he said, "Don't look, get out of Summers. I don't want you to be building like that up." He goes out there to check the house that he was maintaining, and it was all damaged. When he came back, he said, then he got interested because he came right on and said, "What you doing? How you do this? How you do that?" But that's one way of one thing that I have experienced in just transitioning the way we do build in Bermuda, right?
Yes.
And the latest system have come up if it's superior to
you got 30
block
seconds.
work.
You got 30 seconds.
Okay, I will have to call you on this issue another time because it takes a little longer.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Look.
All right.
I will I ain't gonna miss any more shows. I don't know how I missed it last week, but I won't miss any more.
I thank you for your support.
Okay.
Appreciate it very much.
All right.
Have a good evening. Calling on Balance Matters. You have 2 minutes.
Yes. How you doing? Top of the evening to you guys.
Yes, likewise.
Yeah. I'm hearing your radio station, and first of all, you say you have too many people calling you regarding to give their opinion about certain things. But I just want to let you know that I'm experiencing a lot of different things about Bermuda, and I want to start just talking about it. I just want to give you some solutions that I can do to help.
Well, let me say this here. You called in at a time. My show ends at 9:30, and I'm only got 1 minute left.
You make it real short and sweet, and I'm sure
Go
that
ahead.
you'll be very interested in what I'm going to say.
Go ahead.
So my thing is talking about the inmates. I'm hearing a lot of people saying when they come out, they go back in. My solution is that we got to have a program. The program is, and I do work for government, and I see that some things can work. My thing is, what I like to push forward is to have a program. Basically, when they come out, they have a job, they work. The money that they get, I'm talking about recycling right back into government. They work for six months. The money that they get goes into Bermuda housing. After 6 months, they stay in the program for 5 years. So when they come out, they ain't got to look for no housing. The rent's already paid. So that way we try to save them by not going back into incarceration into the Westgate or the prison farm.
Mm-hmm.
The program that I would like to push forward is that once it be successful, then they get a full-time job within government. And so far, some of my programs that are here has worked. That's number one.
I'm gonna say that's it because the time is up. My hour for the program is up, 9:30.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Yes, in the future, it would be nice if you can let the public know what number to call, because I had been searching for a minute to get the number. So
okay, I thank you for it.
If you want more people to call, please advertise or say the number, and then they can call in. I'm sorry I called late, but yeah, that's the solution that I have.
I thank you very much for your input and your contribution. Thank you very much for tuning in to Balance Matters. Tune in next week. Have the rest of a great evening.
Live on YouTube. Subscribe now.